What are you busy doing at the minute, just to give a little breakdown?
So over the summer, we've been doing a lot of network events, social events sort of thing with the kids' holidays. So we've been turning up at like summer fetes. We've supported Together for Children, doing the half event sort of thing, family days, and just kind of like having these conversations with parents about the work that we do, the message that we're trying to send out, sort of thing. Being there to answer questions as well. And promote the Blade kits as well, so people are seeing the Blade kits, they can see what's in them instead of just seeing this box on the wall. So it's giving them the confidence to use them if they ever need it.
Is a Blade kit, is that a new thing to be putting out? It's kind of, you almost like, you see defibs kicking around because of a certain issue.
So
is this a new
so
thing?
the Blade kits are relatively new. They were set up by another charity down based in Birmingham, so I brought them up to the northeast, and they're for catastrophic blades. So inside is like a hemostatic gauze, a chest seal, tourniquet, wrap bandage, foil blanket, safety scissors, and everything you need. And things that what an army medic would carry out in the field, but it's in a first aid kit.
Yeah.
But these are public access as well. So
because I've only ever heard of Blade kits, like, when someone's talking about military and operations, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual to hear that you've got to put them on the streets now.
It is, and it's quite sad to think. But the Blade kits are designed for all types of catastrophic blades. So as much as we started them around knife crime, they are for any type of catastrophic blade, and we support them throughout, regardless of what they're used for. So 2 of our kits have been used. One was for an artery blade, which was a mental health crisis. And based on how stretched our mental health services are and how many people are suffering with mental health, a lot of them are unnoticed. It's a national problem, mental health. And the other one was a car accident. So non-violence related, anything, these things could have happened anytime and anywhere, but because of the Blade kit, both persons were saved.
Are these unexpected consequences for the life you kind of now lead in those kind of things? Do you find you've kind of set off on a journey for what happened to your son, but obviously you're setting off and there's other things that kind of just gravitate into your world,
yeah. So the Blade kits were introduced to us by a local councillor at the time, and I knew nothing about them, and he asked us if we would support 2 cabinets within the city, close to the scene where Connor was attacked. So looked into it, did a little bit of research and thought, yes, but 2 would never be enough. Based on Connor's injuries alone, he would have needed at least 4 of them kits.
4 kits?
Because of these injuries, yes. Connor was stabbed 5 times to the chest and back area, and there's only 1 chest seal in that kit. So he would have needed at least 4 of them.
But then you need people who actually know what to do with them as well.
Yeah. So this is where I did a lot more research on the Blade kits and realised that if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly. I'm not just going to support 2 kits and be done with it sort of thing. It needed to be done like the defibs, and they need to be public accessible everywhere. So we did a massive fundraising where we put them on the fire stations. So there's one on every Tyne Fire and Rescue fire station, all 17 stations. And the reason we chose the fire stations is because they're in the heart of communities and they're a vocal point for emergency. And then we start looking at pubs, shops, community centres sort of thing, where there's known to be accidents, and mainly where there's a defib, because that creates an emergency focal point.
Yeah,
there's no point
to the space where everything is. Yeah,
there's no point in having a defib on one corner and a Blade kit on another corner. If there's an injury, there's an accident, and that person needs both kits, you can't go to both ends, because both kits is just as vital as each other.
It's almost like a public medic station, isn't it?
It is.
An emergency medic station or something like that. That's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, and I think obviously because of the way services are stretched as well. I mean, I've got a lot of admiration for our emergency services, especially since how many people came together to try and save Connor's life. But at the same time, they're stretched, and their time to get into places is extended, so he can bleed out in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's all about time, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So these kits can provide that crucial life-saving equipment to somebody.
Yeah.
It literally could be, same as a defib, life and death.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? Kind of. What's the what's a protocol? Is it obviously, is there a step-by-step sort of, if you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of really hard, isn't it? So,
well, obviously it's the same principle as a defib before 1999, and they would give you the access code to the ones that are fixed on a wall.
okay.
But the kit inside, obviously a defib would talk to you and give you them step-by-step instructions. But with the catastrophic bleed, you're preventing the blood flow. So you're just preventing the loss of blood. So you just need to apply the pressure. So there's a card inside that kind of colour codes every item, and it tells you where every item can be used. So your tourniquet, you can only use it on your limbs. Obviously, you've got to put it above the wound. If you don't, it's no good. But what we say to people when we're kind of talking about them is put it on and make sure you put it on tight. But if you don't overthink it, because at the same time, it's on and it's preventing some loss, like blood flow, if it's not preventing the full blood loss flow sort of thing. So it's crucial now it's on. And the same as there's got the hemostatic gauze in, so you pack it into the wound and you wrap the bandage. If you haven't packed it enough, the blood will still flow, but it'll reduce that flow, so it's potentially safe, it's still helping. And same principle for any of the equipment in there. Doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah. You think it'd be like, like instant QR code straight in, then you can get the video up in 3 seconds, it can do a step-by-step kind of thing.
But then you're concentrating on the video room, obviously in an emergency, it's actions. So the way we put it on is doing something is better than doing nothing. Okay,
all right, okay. Yeah, because you tend to think when you're in a calm situation and environment, go, oh, why don't you just like do this? Well, that means you need 2 of you to do it. One's kind of talking you through it. Well, that's a perfect team. That's what a paramedic team would do, one does one while one does something else, and it's kind of, it's teamwork, isn't it?
One thing that a paramedic, like emergency services, won't do is that if it's catastrophic bleed, they won't tell you to go and get a bleed kit, because they will tell you to just apply pressure yourself.
Right.
Because you leave them, they're going to bleed out.
Do something.
So it all depends on the situation, because in any kind of, you would automatically put your hands on. Just try and stop the bleed.
So, I mean, how long has it been now since you've sort of, this has been your world? How long now?
Well, Connor was killed 6.5 years ago, February 2019. So that first year was just a blur. The way the community, people in the city come together to support us was overwhelming. But that's what got us through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as much as we didn't interact with social media, we didn't interact with the media or anything like that, we kept ourselves very, very private. Even though Connor wasn't private and everybody knew who he was, we ourselves kept ourselves private, mainly to protect our daughter, because she was only 4, well, it was a week before her 14th birthday. So she needed us to we need to keep her safe. So we kept out of the public domain, out of the public eye. So it wasn't us that set up the Facebook page, it was a friend of ours, because people were trying to get in touch with us, so she just took control. And the Facebook page just grew and grew and grew. And when we started reading the messages of support from people, that is what kept us going.
Yeah.
It was the support from everybody across the city that really, really got us through them months. And they supported us throughout the full year. And the trial wasn't until November. And right the way through, they were just there. Everybody was just there, sending the messages, like reactions, sending love, words of support. And at that time, them words really, really helped. Like, even from complete strangers. Yeah. It really, really helped get well, it did for me anyway, on a personal level. It's what got me through.
And why do you think people came and people kind of banded together?
Well, one, Connor knew a lot of people. Connor knew a hell of a lot of people. He had a pit round when he was 13. Well, actually, he had 2 pit rounds when he was 13. But Connor we brought him up to be respectful and to treat people the way he wanted to be treated. So he respected people and people respected him. We brought him up to be polite. So, he never spoke down to anybody, regardless. And he was just a well-mannered and a well-liked young man. He did well in his pit round, he did well in his job at the doctor's surgery. Residents from the estate who I didn't know, but knew Connor from the doctor's surgery sort of thing. Parents of his friends, they all said what a polite young man he was. It was a well-mannered kid at school, never had any issues all the way throughout school, even secondary, which not many people can say that. So, But yeah, he was just a well-respected person, and he wasn't a fighter. He was a fighter in boxing, but he wasn't a fighter. He just wanted to be friends with everybody, and he was always happy and always smiling and always happy for a laugh, sort of thing. And he was just a well, pleasant, respectful young man.
I mean, do you know any kind of statistics of it's usually the good people and it's wrong place, wrong time? Do you know any statistics about that and about stabbings and stuff?
Not really. I just kind of think we brought Connor up to treat people the way you want to be treated, and we always said to him, you know, you've got to stick up for your friends and stick up for your family, sort of thing. But during the later years, we always said, if there's any trouble when he was going out, sort of thing, walk away from it. But what we never taught him was to not defend his friends. And that's what he did that night. He stood up for his friend.
Okay.
So, you know, does that make me the wrong person because I've taught him the wrong thing? You know, what? And there's lots of what ifs. What if he didn't go out that night? What if I didn't give him the money to go out that night because it was just before payday? What if he'd gone to a different pub instead of Gatsby's and he'd never gone out in that alleyway? What if he'd stayed at the party? There's a lot of things as what if. Wrong place, wrong time. Yeah.
That's all you're going to do for the first year, isn't it?
Oh, it's not even the first year. It's continuously what if.
Really?
Yeah.
You're still doing it now?
Still do it now. What if? There's many times where I think, why? Like, why was it Connor? There was a mountain of people in the alleyway that night. There was loads of people there. Why was it Connor?
It's hard. I've interviewed a lot of people, and there seems to be the only freedom is acceptance of the situation. But how the hell do you do that? Have you been there?
Accepting. It's hard because I do accept it, but then I kind of put myself back in the denial place as well.
Because it's happened. You've got to accept that it has happened.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of times where I just think, when I see his mates on holiday, and I just kind of picture him with them, sort of thing. So he's not at home, he's with his mates, sort of thing. And when the football's on, I kind of picture him being with his mates at the match and not actually where he is. So, you know, I do accept that he's gone. But
social media is a constant reminder, so it's even harder, isn't it, really?
It is, and you know, sometimes it's nice and sometimes it's a heartbreak as well. I mean, Connor would have been 25 now, so keep in touch with all of his friends, well, the majority of them anyway, and seeing them all progress. You know, they're happy. Some of them have got kids. Some of them have emigrated and are living the best life, which is so beautiful to say. And one of his friends actually got married a few weeks back as well. You know, so seeing them all literally grown into fine young people, and they're all still really close as well. It's hard because I kind of think, what would Connor be doing? Would Connor be settled? Would he have a child? Would he, you know, who would his girlfriend be? What would she be like? You know, and it's the what ifs.
But does that help? Does it kind of help being positive about it as well?
It helps because I always see his friends keeping Connor as part of them. So Connor's still with them. He was, you know, his friends who got married, he was mentioned within the speeches. You know, 6.5 years down the line, he's still part of their life. You know, when they go to football and things like that, he's still very much a part of what they do. So that helps seeing that. But then there's other times I do feel really, really bad, like really sad. The fact I'll never see Connor get married. He'll never have kids. I'll never have the daughter-in-law. I've got my daughter, yes, but you know, not another daughter-in-law. You know, and he'll never have all this. All that was taken the day he was taken.
But you have another focus, which is your daughter as well. It is kind of, you have to keep moving forward for the people who are here, you know, and that kind of helps in a way.
It does. I mean, if it wasn't for her, having her, I don't know how or what would have become, but I found my strength by looking after her and protecting her. And obviously, I mean, she's 20 now, so when she turned 19, that was a difficult birthday because Connor never made it to 19. So, you know, we still have them moments. And obviously our birthday is a week after Connor was killed, 2 weeks before Connor's birthday. So it's a very difficult time and she hates her birthday. but we do try to make something of it in line with what she needs at the time.
It is. It's numbers are a reminder, and we do think in numbers and a time and an age, and it's just, it's people do find it tough. You go, why don't you enjoy this? Why don't you like birthdays? Because it's a reminder of a bad time. It's not a reminder of a good time. Not everybody has that reminder of a good time, you know. So
I mean, we've got a lot of happy memories, but the bad ones overtake them, and sometimes that's the way it is. You know, when the memories are so traumatic, then that's what it is. You can't beat the bad memories. Sometimes you can't overcome them, no matter how much you try.
Obviously, it's going to change you. How has it changed?
It's changed the person who I was completely. I look at life in a completely different way. Obviously, my career, everything changed in that. I loved my job. I loved my job working in early years in a nursery school sort of thing. And I'd spent nearly 17 years there before I left. But looking at all these young children and seeing them grow, and then obviously they're moving on as they're growing up and going further into the school sort of thing. And I was like, what's happening when they get older? And that's why I decided to do what I'm doing, because there's not many people who can teach them about knife crime. So I used all my skills to transfer that into educating around knife crime. And in a way, it helps us deal with my grief for Connor and keeping him alive for me by being able to talk about him all the time, but in a positive light as well, because Connor was a positive person. So by using him, I keep going.
Yeah. I think it will help because you're talking about him, you're constantly telling the story, and if it helps one, everybody says it. If it helps one, then I'm doing the job.
Yeah, we know we've made a difference. We've seen the differences in some of the young people that we've engaged with over the years. You know, in the different education programs that we've done, we have seen that, and they remember us, and you know, even now they'll come back and they'll say, well, we remember you coming talking about us, and then they'll tell the mum about what we talked about, sort of thing. And so it's really, really positive to see. There's still a lot of work to be done, yes, but I just find that kids' lives, lives is important, and kids, they don't realise what they're doing when they're picking up these weapons and things like that, because all it takes is a moment of madness, and they're not only destroying somebody else's life, but they're destroying their own as well. And there's so many positive things out there for kids these days, and I just want them to thrive. And that's obviously the education and the love for kids that I've developed over my work over the years. But Connor was a positive person himself, and he loved life. He had a really positive outlook on life. So it's kind of, I believe it's what he would have wanted us to do.
I mean, I want to obviously, let's get into the story and what happens to Connor. You probably told us a million times, but please, if you can tell us.
So it was a normal February half-term week. So I was off work, my daughter was off school. You know, it was just a standard week in the household sort of thing, just chilling out. We didn't really do much. February's quite dull. And yeah, it was a friend's 18th birthday, and Connor was heading out as usual on the Saturday night. So it'd been a usual day on the Saturday, nothing different. He'd gone out for his haircut, and then he'd spent a few hours with his mates, whatnot. He wasn't due to be paid until the Monday, so I kind of like transferred cash, you know, so he had the money to go out, because the last thing I wanted to do was, you know, Connor was a social butterfly. I wouldn't see him stop in and miss a friend's birthday. So yeah, and he come back, he got changed, and with Connor, you kind of like, you could hear him singing along, the music was blaring, but we knew it was like a half-hour thing, so we didn't worry about it, you know. His music was blaring, he's singing in the shower, and you smelt him as soon as you smelt him, you knew he was ready. And he would come bounding down the stairs, and he's bald, so he would always rub his head and say, "See you later, Baldy." And I was sat in the corner of the settee, and he'd lean over the back of the settee, kiss on the cheek, and say, "See you later, Mum." And we both used to say, "Right, have a good night, watch what you're doing, love you." And he was gone. He'd gone to Dolphin, which was his local. He'd had a few beers around there. And then obviously he'd headed off into town. Me and his dad, we just chilled out, Saturday night chill out, take away a few drinks, well, quite a few drinks. Got to bed. My phone, I never turned my phone off, never did. And I slept with the bedroom door open as well, because Connor's bedroom door was at the opposite. So I knew when he was home, basically. So I never really settled until he was home, even though sometimes it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, I turned over and my phone was lighting up, which was really strange. And it was our next door neighbour's daughter. And we were very close to our neighbours, sort of thing. And I just answered the phone and she was just in a state of panic. And she says, "You need to get down to town. Connor's been stabbed." Like, so seriously, straight away, I jumped out of bed. I woke my husband up, and in the panic, we woke our daughter up. I was like, the police came on the phone and I couldn't talk. I was hysterical. So Simon took over the call. Rang me mum. We couldn't drive. In all the panic, we knew we'd had too much alcohol to drive. Mm-hmm. So my mum lived up here at Horton, and she bounded through and she drove us straight into town. And when we got into town, there was just swarms of police, and it was, I mean, to some it might have looked like a normal Saturday night, but to me, it just looked like I was entering into a war zone. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what was going on. And we got down to obviously where the point is and where it happened, and a policeman just grabbed us and he says, "You can't go through." And I was like screaming, "I need to get through. I'm his mum. And the next thing I know, there's a radio going and another police officer, and we were getting put into a police van. One was seating, obviously, and we just told to wait and we'd follow the ambulance as soon as Connor was ready to leave. And all we could see was this white tent. And it felt like forever, like sitting in that police van. The phone was going, I couldn't answer it, I couldn't breathe. I mean, I don't have asthma or anything like that, but I was really struggling to breathe. The police officer got us some water and it wasn't helping. I just felt sick and panicking. I couldn't take my eyes off this white tent. And then we started moving, and this is like, where we're going, and we're going to Sunderland, and then we were going to the RVI, then we were going back to Sunderland, then we ended up going past Sunderland Hospital, and we travelled to the RVI.
Is it the not known? Sorry, Tanya, I just want to kind of stop that feeling there. It feels like an eternity because you don't have any knowledge.
No, it was so scary to not know what was going on. There was just so many police officers, so many paramedics and ambulance units and that about, and the crowds was obviously overwhelming as well. People standing around watching, which was quite sickening as well. Especially considering I'm thinking that's my son in that tent and he's just standing watching it while he's eating your chips, as if it was a picture show. I mean, I know they didn't know what was going on, and some of them might feel they'll remember that they were standing there eating chips while that was going on when it came out, sort of thing, But it was a lot of unknown uncertainty, and I think that was what was making us panic and not being able to breathe.
Strange how there's two different worlds there. There's being in the crowd just eating your chips and witnessing, and then there's you who...
I don't think anybody realised who we were and that we were in that police van though.
But then your world is in this police van and your world's in the tent as well. So there's there's almost two parallel worlds happening at the same time, isn't it, really?
That's probably what caused the panic and the not being able to breathe. When you think back about it logically like that, then at the time I just knew I couldn't breathe. Yeah. And when we were getting there, obviously I was really agitated, panicking, I was hysterical. My husband Simon was calm because he was trying to keep me calm. I kind of give him my phone because it was ringing constantly, and I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to know anybody or anything. And they told us we couldn't go out the police van either. We had to wait until they got Connor out the ambulance and transferred him through. And even that, just in a few minutes, I was like, why? What's going on? Like, it's been ages. I don't know what time it was because I had no recollection of the time, but it felt like a lifetime. It felt like a lifetime. And then we got just put into this side room, and the police officer sat with us, and it was just like I was sitting in this white square box, a couple of chairs, and it was just this white box, echoed, clinical, soundless, and you know, I could hear me own heart beating fast, very fast. And I don't know how long we were in there. I really have no idea how long we were in there. And then a doctor came in, and when she said them words, all I remember now was a scream. I don't remember what came after. I just remember not being able to breathe and screaming. That scream has woke me up many times on a night. I've had many nightmares about that. But I remember she was there for a while. And then I asked if I could see him. And they said that they'd come back. They didn't come back. The police officer took us in to see him. I wasn't allowed to touch him. I was only allowed to literally see his face to identify him. I wasn't allowed anywhere else near him. The police officer got reprimanded because he shouldn't have took us in. Connor was evidence. That was it. Nobody was allowed to see him. No one was allowed to touch him. He was evidence. And we were told to go home. And that was it. Nothing else to do. Somebody would be in touch to go home. My mum and my daughter arrived. My sister and my brother arrived at the hospital. I didn't want to leave. Like, I just felt like I'd gone there. And all of a sudden they were telling us that my son had gone and just send us home. I mean, what was I supposed to do? I'd left the house with nothing apart from my phone. So like, how am I getting, like, you know, what am I doing? How am I getting home? Like, and I remember being in the taxi on the way home and just thinking, it was a long journey. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. I just felt numb. When we got home, family and that had already found out about Connor. Like, the news had spread around the family because we are a very close family. And my house was full of people, but yet you could have heard a pin drop. I could hear the noise, but I couldn't hear it at the same time. I felt like I was walking around in a daze in my own house and I didn't know what to do. Like, I literally didn't know what to do. I just remember sitting on the bottom of the stairs and thinking, everybody just go home. Like, I didn't want anybody there. And slowly but surely people start to leave, and that was it. Like, that was early hours of the Sunday morning. The street was quiet. There was nobody about. I just felt numb, as if the life had been sucked out of me. The life had just been drained out of us. The only thing I could hear was my heartbeat racing. Like, literally, that was it. Nothing else. No other sounds. I couldn't hear anything else, and everything else seemed hazy. And then it wasn't until the Sunday tea time when the police actually turned up to explain. They told us that they had arrested somebody, and everything else kind of was a blur for a few days after that. So, and all I wanted to say, I remember just asking for Chloe. Like, she was the one who rang us, like, who lived next door. Where's I need to see Chloe, but the car was missing, so obviously they were with her while she was at the police station being interviewed and everything else. And she was gone for hours and hours and hours. But even then, I wasn't able to speak to her. I had to wait, because obviously she was a witness to things and she needed time at the same time. And it took days before I could see and speak to her.
You just wanted information, didn't you?
I just wanted to know something, because nobody was telling us anything. I just know she phoned us and told us Connor had been stabbed. And then all of a sudden some doctor was telling us that he'd gone. And I just seen a lifeless body, lifeless face. That's all I could see. Couldn't see anything else on that bed. And, you know, just having that in my head, I just needed to know something at that time, and nobody could tell us anything. So, and I couldn't, there was a lot of things going on social media as well, and I just couldn't bring myself to kind of like, to look. My phone was constantly going, messages, and people who were sending us messages saying, please tell us what I've heard isn't true. I thought, well, what do you want us to say? Like, it's true. Like, I just couldn't answer, I couldn't speak to anybody.
It's overwhelming, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're not in the headspace.
No. I tried to phone my best friend. She'd been my best friend for, before Connor was born. And I remember phoning her, and then I just broke down on the phone and I couldn't even speak to her. And I had to give the phone to somebody else to tell her and break the news, because I wanted her to hear it from us before some should say it on social media, because everybody had notified the family, but there was a couple of people who I needed to tell myself, but I just couldn't say the words. It took me a long time before I could actually say the words that Connor was dead. A long time.
I mean, obviously the police have know who it is, they've arrested the people. Does that have any effect on your thought process at this time or not?
The one who was convicted of murder, I have no thoughts whatsoever about him. I don't give him any headspace, to be fair. And I probably won't for a very long time. I can't have him in my head. I just haven't got the room for that.
It doesn't deserve it either.
No, I will spend my life hating him, but thinking about the hate I have for him, it's just not, I'm not letting it control my life.
It doesn't help you day to day.
It doesn't, and I won't let him take over. I won't let him take anymore. He's took Connor, he's not taken over anymore. But the other one, he only got 3.5 years for manslaughter. Now him, I've got a lot of hatred for, and I will be vocal about that, because I feel like he got away with what he did with the help of his family. His family helped him get away with what he did.
Can you talk about the reasons why?
I can. So he lived with his grandmother, and she is an auxiliary nurse at Sunderland General Hospital. He went home, and apparently he told his grandmother that his mate had been stabbed, and she washed his clothing. She washed his bloodstained clothing. She washed his bloodstained shoes. Why? Because they were expensive. Being an auxiliary nurse, she knew how to treat the blood. She knew how to get it off. And then he was arrested on a train travelling up to Edinburgh on the Sunday tea time. He told police he was going up to his dad's because it was his granddad's funeral. His granddad had died about 3 months before that. So, more lies. Like, it wasn't just the lying, it was the lies he told as well. And then, because of the forensics being tampered with, a blind spot in the CCTV, he was only convicted of manslaughter and he got 3.5 years. And he was released after the trial ended in December, he was released the following November. He's back in prison because he hasn't learned from it. He's been caught again for further knife offences and harbouring and aiding and abetting somebody else who had violently killed another young man.
Really? So he's done it again?
He didn't do it, but he harboured
involved
them.
in it.
He got himself involved in it, yes. He's got no remorse. He got away with murder with Connor, and he's just feels like he's untouchable, and he's just a horrible person. He's awful, and because of that, I do have a lot of hate and negative thoughts about him.
So this is clearly not a dispute in the back alley. What was the reasons for this?
So the alleyway, the argument itself was a friend of Connor's. So the two offenders had tried to do a drug deal with one of Connor's friends, and he wasn't interested in it, sort of thing. And then they asked for some change so somebody else could buy these drugs, sort of thing. So there was an argument over a £5 note. At this point, Connor wasn't there. He wasn't involved in it. He was actually in Gatsby's. So Gatsby's, as far as I'm aware, the toilets are downstairs and Connor was upstairs, so he'd gone downstairs to the toilets, but they were quite busy. So Connor being Connor, he went into the alleyway. And that's where he bumped into his friend. Found out, like, you know, walked in on the altercation sort of thing. And the CCTV actually showed Connor putting his arm around his friend's shoulders, and the words he'd spoken was, "Our mate's a fiver, walk away." And apparently there was a couple of punches thrown and the two offenders had took off up the alleyway. They got so far and then they ran back down. They took the knife out of their hidden waistband sort of thing and then turned back around and ran back down, waving the knife around into the crowd of people. At this point, you know, the crowd of people, it was after 1 o'clock in the morning. So there was a lot of people in the alleyway. People had kind of accumulated. People were travelling from different bars, waiting for taxis, having food. There was even a young girl being sick in the alleyway sort of thing. You know, there was a lot of people about. And Connor stepped forward to stop him running into a crowd of people waving the knife. The altercation broke out. Connor was stabbed 5 times with multiple other injuries. So, and Ali Gordon was seen stamping and kicking on Connor's head while he was on the floor in the alleyway. And that's why he was only charged with manslaughter.
There seems to be a lot of witnesses.
There was a lot of witnesses, but there was a lot of alcohol as well.
So can't rely on that.
But they did to a point. You know, there was a lot of witnesses, and a lot of witnesses kind of like told it as it was, and they all kind of collaborated each other. But it was the lack of forensics and the blind spot on the CCTV. Technology at its finest, but yeah, I feel like it failed us. But at the same time, if his grandmother hadn't washed them clothes, then the forensics would have been completely different. He was also found with a weapon when he was arrested, and it wasn't a weapon that matched any of Connor's injuries. So Connor's injuries, there was 2 different knife wounds, and they only had one of the knives, the one from the offender. So it is kind of, you can see it, that the second one did stick a knife in Connor, but they couldn't prove it. And that knife, he was on a train in Edinburgh when he was arrested. That knife could be anywhere. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So again, forensics.
He clearly knew what he was doing.
This is where the hatred comes in because of the circumstances surrounding his conviction. The justice system. I felt like I got justice, but I was robbed of justice at the same time. And I think that's, like I said, that's why I don't kind of like have any feelings towards the one who got the 20-year sentence. But yeah, I have a lot of hatred for the other one because I feel I was robbed of justice from him.
That's justification on one, but the other one slipped through the net kind of thing.
I mean, he's still in prison because of other crimes. But then he wouldn't have been able to commit these other crimes if justice had been served.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, how can these people be walking around? That's the question you ask, because it's not fair, is it?
No. I mean, the one who was convicted for murder, he was seen on CCTV throughout the day, waving his knife around in different areas.
It's mad.
Not threatening, but, you know, jibing people with it in banter sort of thing, showing off, thinking he was proud of it, you know, and it was like a trophy he was showing off. He was proud to have it.
I don't understand though. There's the consequences. He's in jail for was it 20 years?
He got 20, yeah.
What's the point?
Well, you know, that even if he gets out after 20 years, what kind of a life is he going to have, sort of thing at the same time? You know, it's not something that he'll ever be able to forget. And he's got to live with that. His family's got to live with what he's done as well. So actions and consequences. It affects everybody, knife crime. You know, Connor lost his life. The impact it had on us as a family is unmeasurable, but it affects offenders as well and their families. And that's one of the reasons why we do the work that we do as well, just to prevent it. I don't want people going through what I go through on a day-to-day, the heartache, the pain, the senseless loss, really.
Well, let's talk about the trust that you set up, because I want to kind of finish on a positive there, Tanya. And what are you doing? What you're involved in? Please tell us.
So obviously we did set up the trust, and we set the trust up a year after Connor's death. We got a notification come through on the 16th of March 2020. But Connor's birthday was the 20th of March, so we thought, right, we can't, I'm not going to announce it and overshadow his birthday, but then obviously COVID hit, so that was that just felt like a lifetime as well. So what we did when COVID hit is we prepared. So we got like policies and procedures, and we looked into safeguarding, we looked into project management and bookkeeping and everything that we would need to make the trust work and what we intended to do on it. So when we officially launched the trust in September 2021, we were able to start straight away with our education work. And we've never really stopped since, to be fair. So it's coming up 3 years since we started the education packages. We've worked with the King's Trust. We've worked with the Youth Justice Service, probation services, Together for Children, community groups, so many schools, primary and secondary, colleges, universities, different organisations. We've been as far as Middlesbrough. We've been Concert, Newcastle, up that direction as well. So, we just, anybody who will let us tell our story, we will talk to them. So we've developed the workshops into like an hour session, and our workshops are based on Connor and the reality. We're not teaching them the law. We're not telling them to not pick up a knife and it's wrong because they know it's wrong. We're not providing them with statistics and bombarding them with figures. We are telling them about the real rawness of knife crime and how it impacts on people.
Yeah, I think people switch off sometimes when they hear stats as well, because you just talk about numbers they have no relation with.
No, and there is one figure that we will relate to, and that is obviously the national statistic number, which is over 50,000 knife crime related incidences in the last 12 months, sort of thing.
But you just need one. You just need that really to
so
reassure
when we talk about that number, obviously in Sunderland we will kind of use the Stadium of Light. We'll say how many of the kids in the room have been to the Stadium of Light. Yeah. Picture that stadium full of people and then look at them numbers. That is equivalent to that number. Yeah. So it's putting it into perspective for them.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it makes sense to a lot of people because they can see
and
that
that's
number.
When they feel it.
Yeah.
And that's when they get the sense of the amount of people that has been impacted by knife crime and affected by knife crime. And because, we're very open when we talk about certain aspects of what Connor went through, because obviously we found out in the court about the treatment Connor received in the alleyway. And we share that. We tell them about our emergency services and how vital they are. St John's Ambulance, first on scene, followed by paramedics, followed by the air ambulance road team, followed by the blood bag team. What they did in that alleyway, and how we tell them. So we explain them, we get them to picture a clean, sterile environment, a hospital room where they would have surgery, very clean, precision instruments sort of thing, all the machines. Connor had open heart surgery in an alleyway, and that shocks them. But that is what we want. We want them to feel that shock and understand that it's real. And when they realise that we're Connor's parents delivering it as well, we kind of get that automatic respect from these kids. Because they realise that we're not there teaching them the law, we're not the police, we're not there as a school teacher or anything like that. We're just there talking to them as a parent. And we do get that level of respect from them. So it does have an impact. We've done a lot of work with Northumbria Police, and we're very proud of the youth trainee detective programme that we run as well with Northumbria Police. So using the colleges and the immersive spaces, we take groups of kids up to about 20, 25 max into the college for a week, and they become trainee detectives, and they are tasked with solving Connor's murder. They get to see, using the immersive space, the CCTV of Connor's attack. They get to see the real forensics. They get to meet the forensics team. They get to learn about blood analysis, fingerprinting, DNA, footprints, all of that. They get to see the Connor's bloodstained T-shirt and the knife that was used. They get to view the offender's arrest, and when he was took into the station from the custody suite, they get to see the CCTV from the custody suite and his demeanour and how he kind of projected himself at that time. They get to see the second one's arrest up in Edinburgh and how he was vile and disgusting towards the police officers and the language that he used. They get to see all of that. They get to go into a court and they go through a mock trial, and they have the barristers and the judges and everything like that. And then they get to solve Connor's case.
It's a great thing.
It's incredible. It really is. I mean, it's hard. It is hard. We, as like me and his dad, we don't take part in the full week. It's too hard for us. So we, the kids get to see like what happened to Connor using the immersive space sort of thing. And it's like they're at that scene because of the technology we have. And then they're introduced to us, and you could hear a pin drop in that room. And we asked them to be detectives that week. We asked them to solve the case, and they are so keen. They want to get involved. They want to do it. They learn about knife crime from vascular surgeons. They have the real crime scene investigators who were actually involved in Connor's case as well. They are there. So some of the police officers who were involved in Connor's case are on the part of this programme as well. So it's really, really, so positive. And the difference that it's making to these kids is just immeasurable because they get so involved in it. And after the first programme that we ran, we had one young girl who wanted to become a vascular surgeon. We had another kid who wanted to become a detective. There was another kid who had come from a life, his family was involved in all kinds of criminal activity sort of thing. And you could tell what kind of a path this person was going to go down. This person has become an ambassador for knife crime. Yeah,
changing in
and
different ways
totally
as well.
turned his life around in school, in his community, his attitude, everything is totally done a 360 based on learning from us, the workshop that we delivered, and then doing that trainee detective programme.
That's changing someone's life. That's changing a lot of lives, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're really, really proud of that programme. And we're looking forward to getting started on it again. We've got another 6 rounds coming up. It is a big programme, but it's worth it. It's worth it because we know it's making a difference, because it's real. It's not actors, it's not a scenario that's been made up, it's not an ITV drama that's been scripted, it's real. And with obviously Connor being such a Sunderland supporter as well, they can feel it within Sunderland as well. So, and we are, honestly, the work that we do, we're just really proud of it.
One last final message to anybody out there, similar situation or whatever you want to tell people.
Well, as a parent, I would say to parents is that have a think about what you keep in your kitchen drawers, because a lot of knife crime comes down to kitchen knives. So, do you know how many knives in your kitchen drawers? Would you honestly see if one was missing? Could you tell if there's something missing from that drawer? So, have a think about your own security in your house sort of thing and prevent it from ever happening. And I think for kids and young people out there, just think about all the positives that we have, all the different opportunities that are out there for young people now. Don't throw your life away on a silly mistake by picking up a knife, because it's not worth it. It's just simply not worth it.